I'm completely in shock at how well the vintage style works with bold colors like in this little journal here. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. If you know my channel, you know I'm all about vintage style, and if this is the first time you see this little journal and would like to know what happened to me and why on earth I'm suddenly using crazy colors, please watch the video of my art journal festival experience linked below this video. It's not easy when you get so stuck in your art and feel completely lost like I did. But to go through it on video is of course a whole other level. So I was so touched by the kind and encouraging comments so many of you left for me below that video about the art journal festival. So thank you so much for those. And I would like to read you one comment that I thought was super interesting. It's from Cindy. So hi Cindy, and thank you again. She wrote, "Many of us have a fear of using color. It's like speaking loudly, especially introverts. We don't like speaking loudly or drawing too much attention with vibrant colors. I think we love color, we just aren't confident using it." So I've been thinking about that comment and how it relates to my art. And I don't know, I mean, yes, I'm definitely an introvert. Making YouTube videos, I guess I am definitely drawing attention to myself. There's no way around that. So I don't know. I guess I would have to think about it some more, but that's definitely something you might want to ponder as well. Maybe you remember in that video, I showed you how I created this page in the sketchbook that we received. I tore some of it out because I thought I could add some of it to this little journal. I first tore it out, then I put the pink behind it, and then I tore these pieces off, thinking that I could add them here, but they actually don't fit there at all. But I'm showing you this now because when I made this page, it brought me right back to 2016, so 6 years ago, when I made this journal. So this is one of my early junk journals. As you can see, this is definitely not my current style. But having said that, I mean, look at the similarities. Isn't that absolutely mind-blowing? And when I created this page, I did not think about this one until I had the pink in there. Then I remembered this. I didn't know how close it actually was, but seeing these two next to each other is absolutely crazy. And the fun thing is also that here I wanted to use texture paste, but there wasn't any in the studio, which is why I then made these holes for the pink to show through. Whereas here I actually do have the texture paste and then added the pink on top somehow. I don't even remember. So I've created this cover using a lot of spray paints. And I used pretty much only junk for my pages. And I only created a few pages in here. I'm not sure why I stopped, but I actually do really enjoy the pages or the spreads that I made. So I actually still love this today. So this is November 2016. I still like it. There's like only 3 or 4 in here. There's another one. Still really like it. And the colors are definitely bolder. And then there's this one, which I also still like. I will not continue working in this. I know that for sure. But I want to also show you that I am not a stranger to bold colors. This here is a folder I made in 2015. And you see all these crazy colors here. Yep, that was me. But it goes on in here. That was my style. That was when I was really into art journaling. I knew not much about junk journaling, but I do remember taking my time working on this and really enjoying it. These are lipsticks from a magazine. It doesn't go much further. Yeah, this is like a half finished one. You got this, and then there's a half finished collage here. And no, I won't finish this either. The time has passed. I have moved on, and I don't feel the necessity to finish these projects, but they are super fun to look back at. So if you are here now, I assume you're also enjoying bright colors. So let's see how to combine them with the vintage style. Now, I showed you a flip through of the half finished little journal in that video, so please check at the end of that video. You can see a silent flip through of that. I won't show you the same thing here, but let's look at some pages and see what we can do. So the first thing I want to do is, as you see on this one here, I stitched the body and the feelers of the moth. And of course I stitched through it, so this kind of looks weird now on the back side. So I want to add some wings here as well, but I don't want to stitch them because then that would go through here again. So instead, maybe I'll take this away for now. Instead, I want to add some new wings here. And I thought I would make them with this neutral paper, which is from my Rusty Papers. I will link these below for you. They are super grungy. They definitely count as vintage in my book. And I think this paper will go really well with this beautiful jelly print from Honey. So I want to start off by gluing this onto a thicker cardstock because I don't completely want to glue the wings down. And if it's just paper, then that's not going to work well. They're going to get damaged. So let's just glue this on. Then I found these two butterfly wings, which I had already apparently cut apart for something else that I ended up not using. But I think these are the perfect size to go here. I don't want to use these because I want something that stands out a little bit more against this background. But of course we can just trace the shapes in order to get nice butterfly wings, because I do not trust myself in drawing them myself. So I'm just going to trace these. I want to get this washer on the wing, so I'm just going to turn this. I don't usually look at my video statistics after posting a video, but with this one, with the Art Journal Festival, I was really curious to see whether you would like it or not, because I couldn't really judge somehow. And anyway, YouTube surprises me a lot with which videos you actually like, because a lot of times the ones I like don't go over so well, which is always super interesting, very, very unpredictable. But why I'm telling you this is because, yeah, so this time I was looking at the results. So I was checking the analytics, I think about 12 hours after the video was published. And I saw that I had lost 3 subscribers. So I guess those subscribers did not enjoy the pops of color I was using. Very, very interesting. Okay, so we have our wings. We need to define them a little bit more for sure. I do love the 2 washers here on the wings. So I want to ink up the edges with walnut stain. It's so interesting. Usually you would have a more plain background and then you would have butterfly wings that kind of pop. And this time we're doing it exactly the opposite way around. That's a first for me as well. And then we could use these wings again as inspiration for the design here on the wings. We could just take a black pen. This is a 0.5, it looks like. So comparing these two now, I must say I like this one a lot better than this one. Even though I do like the contrast, but yeah, I don't like how it came out. So I think I need to cut out another wing because I'm not happy with this. Okay, and cut another piece out from another one of those papers. That's definitely better. I just wonder if for more contrast, I should add a little bit of this neon yellow just to the edge here where the wings touch the body. No risk, no fun, right? Let's just try it. So I have this fluid acrylic from Amsterdam. This is the one we got at the festival. That kind of seems too straight. Let me try just feathering it out. So I dried this with my heat gun, and the issue, like I mentioned in that other video, is that this kind of bubbles up. Can you see it? And then you get these kind of wrinkly textures. I don't mind it in this case, but that is something to be mindful of. I guess that also happens with acrylic paint. So I think this looks pretty cool now. And I want to glue these down a bit dimensional. So I'm going to add some foam stickers just on the ends of the wings, not here where it is close to the body. Oh, but I should put some glue under here as well. That was not my finest moment. I'm going to clamp this down a little bit until that grips. Let's be smarter for the second one. So now we have a butterfly on one side and a moth on the other side. Where else do I need to add some things? This one here, I think, can use a bit more contrast. So I'm going to, again, try using my micro pen and try to draw some of this flower here. And hopefully that will work better than with the butterfly. And I'm trying to be loose. I'm wondering if I should do this with my left hand. No, but I'm going to hold my pen very high up so that I cannot be precise, because I really want this just kind of abstract. Really, really difficult exercise for a perfectionist to just let go and be loose. And I'm thinking I should also do that in white for even more contrast. I'm going to try this acrylic paint marker that we received on that festival. It's from Marabout. Of course, the biggest question with these markers is always how opaque are they, because a lot of times they just don't really cover what you want to cover, but we'll just give it a try. Okay, that's working a lot better than I thought. Yeah, that's cute. And I think it goes well with this here on the right. So that makes me happy now. I'm going to start from the front now and see where I feel it still needs something. For example, here, I feel like this needs something. I'm missing a focal point on this page. By the way, this word here, Sehnsucht, is German and means longing. That was in a beautiful book. Actually, that was the same book where this is from. It was a beautiful vintage Japanese book with German script, but Japanese pictures. And the material that those book pages were made of was absolutely amazing. It was almost like cloth. I don't know how well you can see the texture here, but one of our participants found this at the flea market here, and she let us each take a page. I wanted to brighten up these leaves a bit more, so I added this orange acrylic paint to just the bottom part of these trees. So that's why they pop so nicely. And I also added that same acrylic paint to these flowers, although they already did pop quite well before. And I had taken these Tim Holtz dolls to the festival, and I never used them because I couldn't work with the vintage style. But maybe we can actually make something like that work on this page. Now I know I want a girl or a woman because it's my journal and it represents me and my transformation. So it's got to be a girl. I'm not sure if this is a boy or a girl. It looks more like a boy. Would be cute too. But yeah, I want a girl that represents me, especially because it's in the front of the book. This makes me laugh because I actually was dressed up like this as a girl. I grew up with 2 older brothers and we used to play cowboy and Indians a lot, but I would have worn pants because I hated wearing skirts or dresses. So I was more like a tomboy, but I definitely would have worn something similar to this at that age, which is really funny. So I should definitely keep this one in mind. A lot of these are too big. We have these girls. Well, that would be really cute to have one sticking out like that, and then we can do something with the back. That would look cute. I don't know how well that would represent me since I never had a sister, but I do like the look of that. Let's try this again. We would have her sticking out the page like that, so we could do that too. Why not? Let's go with that because that represents me a lot better. And we could really make her pop by putting something colorful underneath here on the edge. And I have these scraps left. These are like fabric tape, and these are again from the festival. I don't know where to get these. I think they're absolutely brilliant. So let's just try that. If I take this one and put it right here on the edge, and then we add her. Oh, that needs to go more in actually. Thankfully I can reposition it. Look at how that pops. So now I just need to do something with the white here. So let's see what color would work best. I don't want to pull too much attention to this part here, so I don't want to make that like orange or any strong color. So I'm going to try my antique linen with a blending brush and see what that looks like. Oh, that would actually go quite well with this here. I think it was on the 3rd day, Christine, one of the 2 organizers, asked us to each send her a self-portrait. So we did that, and then she printed them out on this like thermal paper. And the problem is that I dried the acrylic paint here with my heat gun, and as you probably know, you should never do that when you're anywhere near a thermal paper because it will turn black. So I pretty much ruined this portrait. I still think it's funny because you can still kind of see my face. If it gets any worse, I can always print out that portrait myself and just stick it over that. But for now, I'm just going to keep it because I think it's funny and it makes me laugh at how sometimes I'm just not thinking about what I'm doing. Okay, let's glue her down. Yeah, this works really well for me. I love the different pops of the orange that we have here. We have it here, here, here. We actually have a tiny bit coming through here. We have some of it here and even here. So that's fun. And yeah, I think that's definitely an improvement to the page. As I said, especially because it's the first page and that needs to kind of pull your attention. This I think I'm okay with for now. This as well. I don't want to add anything here, I think, because I want all the attention to go to this cute image. This is from my fairy papers. I will again link those below for you. They're called Once Upon a Time. And I just want this to be a place to rest for my eyes. So this was a jelly plate print. Here, I'm not sure yet whether I want to add anything. Here again, I think I want all the attention to go here. So even though this is quite busy, because of the colors, I think it's a lot more calm than this page. So I think that works well. This one might need something. Although again, it's a nice calm page next to a very busy page. This says Discover Yourself. It is super hard to read. It was written with the typewriter that was there, but in real life, it's fine. I can see it. Normally, I would say this needs like a quote or something, but I have this one here that says, I'm an artist. So I don't think I want one on the opposite page. And for some reason, I don't want to add anything here either. And if you're wondering, this is not 4P, this is 49. So I've added the number 49 in multiple places, in multiple different ways throughout this journal. The 49, of course, coming from 49 dragonflies. And I just turned the 9 around. And I kind of want to just leave this empty. Again, the attention should go here. So I don't think I want to add anything there. Here now, of course, both pages are quite loud, but that's okay. This one, again, I just want to leave as it is. Again, this is a fairly loud stencil because it has so much going on. Because of the colors, I think it's quite calm. And I really like just having this little colorful accent here. And these here, I actually had not intended, but this here, because I had closed it before it was completely dry, left a spot right there. So in order for not to let that look like a mistake, I of course had to add more dots. But I really love this. I'm so happy that happened because those spots just really pop. This for me is finished as well. So this one says get messy. And these here, I added with a new spray that I have, which is this one, the Distress Oxide Spray in Villainous Potion. Absolutely gorgeous color. Love these colors together. And I also finally got the Distress Oxide ink pad. I haven't even opened it yet. But I'm definitely going to enjoy using that. So I'm happy with these two as they are. I think I'm even happy with this here. Something's not right about this one. So here again, we have the 49 with the 9 flipped, but somehow it's not working. I think mostly it's this green color. This was written with a woody pencil that I borrowed, and I don't even have that one here. But this green is nowhere else in this journal whatsoever. And I'm not really liking it, so I need to do something here. I could either just cover it up completely or just try to go over that with something else. So I tore another piece of that same paper I used for my wings, and it has approximately the same size as the one underneath here. And now I'm going to write this 49 again. Now I can take my awl and make holes. And by the way, I again glued this on cardstock because I don't want the paper to tear, because this was just copy paper. And now I'm going to take some purple embroidery thread. I'll take 3 strands, so I'll divide a strand in half because one has 6 strands. And I think the purple will be nice both with the orange and the yellow. These, of course, are complementary colors, so that will work, but it also works really well with the orange. And I just changed my mind. I'm actually going to use the full strand, the full thread with 6 strands, because I want this to come out really well. So I'm just going to go in and out and in and out, and probably go back again, so that I don't only have every second hole stitched, or I should rather say so that I don't have the stitch only in every second hole, but through all the holes. I really enjoy sewing paper like this. At this art journaling festival, we had a discussion on one of the days in the evening. They called it a round table. And it was really interesting because, among other things, we discussed the difference between art journaling and junk journaling. And that was super interesting because it turned out to be pretty hard to define that difference, because they were always talking about art journaling, obviously, because it was an art journaling retreat. And I mentioned that junk journalers should kind of be included because of the topics we discussed. It's not relevant. But I just said, can we just say art journalers and junk journalers? And some of the participants said like, well, what they were doing is junk journaling. And I'm like, no, not really. And then they were like, well, but we're using, I was trying to explain the difference. So I was like, well, I think junk journalers use more junk in their journals than art journalers. Sorry, I just wanted to say I could leave it like this, where it just shows through every second one, where the thread is just showing up every second hole, but I think I want it to come out more, so I will go back. So I'm just going to trace my steps to fill all the holes. The more I tried to explain it, the more I was struggling to explain what the difference actually is, because yes, they also use junk papers. They use vintage papers. So what actually is the difference? And then I realized in that discussion, I think, and you're welcome to contradict me if I am wrong, and I haven't seen this differentiation anywhere, but when I look at what a typical junk journal looks like and a typical art journal, besides the fact that mostly in art journals the colors are more colorful, obviously if I'm comparing it to vintage junk journal, then it's quite clear that one is vintage and one is not. I don't think I've ever seen any junk journal doing vintage, but I'm sure there are plenty of those as well. But when I think of an art journal, typically I think of very colorful, but that's not the point. The point I realized is that when I look at the typical junk journal, we have a lot of pockets and tuck spots and envelopes and all kinds of places where we like to add ephemera to. Like we have the tags and journaling cards and all of that. And I don't really see that in art journals, or at least not to that extent. So I think that is the major difference of junk journaling and art journaling. Again, if you have a different opinion, do let me know. But that was super interesting that me being a junk journaler actually had a hard time trying to explain to an art journaler what the difference between art journaling and junk journaling. Obviously, the borders are extremely blurry. I think that goes without saying. I think a lot of my junk journals that don't really have a lot of pockets and tuck spots and things like that, like the one I just made with the Art Nouveau style, that I don't think has any pockets or anything. So is that then an art journal? It's really, really hard to define these things. What makes an art journal an art journal? What makes a junk journal a junk journal? And is the junk journal a subcategory of an art journal? Or are they on the same level? They're probably both some sort of visual journaling. So it's just so hard to define these things. And then, of course, the question is, do you need to define the things? Well, normally I would say you don't. But having a YouTube channel, I feel I need to be able to talk about what I'm doing using the correct terms. You know what I mean? Like if I was not on social media, I would just do my thing and not worry about what it's called. But being in the position I am and talking to you about what I'm doing, I feel like I really should be using the correct term, if there is such a thing at all. And of course, there's this huge discussion that thankfully we did not get into about what is a real junk journal. How much junk needs to be in a junk journal to be a real, in quotes, real junk journal. That's a whole nother topic on its own. Super interesting though. Since I'm going to glue this down anyway, I'm just going to cut the end off in the back and then secure that with a regular piece of tape. And I'm liking that a lot better than the green. And of course the added texture is really fun as well. Okay, that is glued on. You see I'd added some orange around here, and I kind of want to pull the orange onto this piece of paper. I did it here using this stencil, or actually it's a mask. This is the one I had received from Honey, and if you're interested in where it's from Studio Light. And it's a grunge mask. Really nice. But the thing is, I want to use this bright orange, or wait. because I can't really use this with this because it's just too liquid. But I forgot, I also bought these bright paints, so let's try that. So this is called Fluorescent Orange. It's from Daler Rowney. They are not expensive, especially because they are quite small. So I want to, how am I gonna figure this out? Because I want this to go exactly over these spots. I have no idea how I had this. There's no way I'm gonna figure that out. Oh, actually, look, I can just see where the orange is. Yes, that should work. Found it, yes. So I'm going to take my flat stippling brush, and I know not always, but a lot of times I have problems with this because sometimes the paint gets underneath the stencil, and quite a few always mention under my videos I need to just be dabbing it instead of moving it. Usually the dabbing doesn't work for me, but hey, I'll try it again because you suggested it. Maybe it does work. You need patience with this method. It's not for me. Okay, let's see what that did. That's not bad. Thank you. I will try to be more patient because I remember I have tried this in the past and I remember it not working, but that was probably because I wasn't patient enough. No surprise. Okay, I'm a lot happier with this now. I think it's more harmonious with the purple here. This is all we have time for in this video, unfortunately. I hope it gave you some ideas for your own journals. Maybe you want to make a small one like this. They are super fun to work in. And I hope to see you back here for part 2, where I'm going to finish it off and give you a final flip through. Thanks so much. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.